Okay. All right, all right. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here in your phones or your laptops or computer, wherever it is. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown. I'm the founder of Restful Sleep MD. And I have a friend here, and boy, do we have a treat for you. So really, if you followed me for a while, I do this kind of candid conversations, either with colleagues or friends or, people that I feel just have so much to share with you that you can learn from. So I want you to just lean in, especially if you are someone who is looking to improve your sleep, because our guest today has a whole lot to say about that. So really excited to have you here, Dr. Gibbs. Would you introduce yourself to our community?
Sure. I'm the founder of Allergy Access MD, which is an online education company. I have courses for doctors who want to treat allergy in their offices. And I also have a new course that is about integrative thyroid and hormone management that I'm super excited about. But anyway, I started that last year when I kind of got dissatisfied with the direction that medicine was going and that my practice was going. And just there's got to be more to life. And am I going to just do this until I retire? And anyway, so that's when I met the Entre MD Business School group, and I met Dr. Funke and all the great colleagues there. But I'm so excited to be here and talk to you guys today because I have had trouble with my sleep for a really long time.
And so thank you so much for that, just introducing yourself and telling us about just the amazing work that you do. And yes, we are in the same physician community space. And one thing that I have observed really on this journey is the fact that a lot of physicians have so much to give, and over time we end up giving and giving and giving of ourselves, and sleep is not prioritized, right? We're not prioritizing our sleep, we're not taking care of ourselves, and we're exhausted, and at the end of the day, burnout starts to become a thing. So I know you had mentioned that you had struggled with sleep a bit. And so I just wanted to take us back to, like, when did it all start and when was sleep an issue? Because it turns out, even though this is the work I do, I also had sleep issues, and that was what motivated me to start Restful Sleep MD after sort of coming out through through that just really dark period. So tell us a bit about that. When did sleep problems start?
Sure. Well, so my residency for ENT was quite a long time ago. It was before the work hour restrictions, and we would work really from, our rounds would be at 6 a.m. and we would work in surgery sometimes till 10, 11 midnight, and then have to go home and then get up and do it all again the next day. And so I was getting, for a lot of that time, I was getting so little sleep that it was just, I think pretty much they've decided that's, abuse and criminal and all that stuff. But then when I was finished with residency and I had my 1 to 2 pots of coffee per day habit, and I got out into the normal world, and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't need to drink a whole pot of coffee every day. And so I managed to gradually get that down to 1 cup of coffee, of real coffee a day. But a couple of years into being an attending, I decided to start my own practice. And that was, a lot of stress. And so I found myself, I would wake up in the morning 2, 3, and could not fall back asleep. And what I noticed right away pretty much was when I went from 1 cup of coffee, it was at the point that I was at the point of, okay, I have to try some kind of drug like Ambien, or I have to do something. And I said, why don't I get rid of the coffee and just see how that goes? And really, it made a remarkable difference for me. So the difference between 1 cup and no cups, or switching to decaf, which is what I actually did because I like the taste of coffee, was really super helpful for me. And I did pretty well for a long time. But then I was having this deal where I would sweat at night. I would wake up just drenched in sweat. I would go to bed freezing cold, and I would wake up drenched in sweat, go to bed freezing cold, like so cold that I would have to get back up and go run hot water on my feet before I could fall asleep. And what it turned out is that I had an undiagnosed thyroid disorder, and that when I got on the right kind of thyroid medicine, a lot of that went away, and it was great for a really, really long time until I got towards menopause. And, at this point, I wasn't really paying attention to how many hours of sleep a night I was getting, or when I was going to bed, or any of that kind of stuff. But I started having trouble again sleeping, even though my thyroid seemed like it was doing good. And then one day I was listening to a podcast, and the guest on this podcast was a gentleman named Matthew Walker. And Matthew Walker wrote a really interesting book. It's kind of geeky, but it's for the general public, and it's called Why We Sleep. And he started, telling about all the horrible things that happen to you when you don't get that magic 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is bad. My family has a history of dementia. I really am going to have to work on this. This is important. And before that, I was just like, I was kind of like everybody else. I was like, sleep is just an interruption in my productive time. I didn't realize all the stuff that happens when you're asleep, which is, I'm sure, stuff that you've discussed on your podcast before. But anyway, so I started experimenting on myself, and I'm like, okay, what helps me? What doesn't help me? I was like, oh, well, okay, why don't I see if having a drink before bed helps me? Well, I found out very quickly that it absolutely does not help me. As a matter of fact, I bought one of these sleep trackers, an Oura Ring. I'm wearing it now. I don't know if you can see that in the thing. And it's not as accurate as I was going to hope it was going to be. I mean, it shows you what sleep stage you're in, and I think it's kind of bogus. But what it does really show you is, when you're getting REM sleep and when you're not getting REM sleep, and, when you're awake and when you're, you can really tell because it shows when you're moving around and stuff. And so what I noticed very quickly was on the nights when I had had a drink, one, I would wake up way more. I would wake up sweating way more. And my REM sleep was just destroyed. I mean, the amount of REM sleep that the machine was telling me I was getting just went in the toilet. And of course, you need all the kinds of sleep. You don't just need REM sleep. But I noticed that, and I was like, wow, you think it's helping you go to sleep, but it's not. It's helping you destroy your sleep. And so that was another thing that I really had to just say, okay, if I'm going to have a drink, it has to be early in the evening and not 2 drinks or 3 drinks, maybe just 1, and certainly not every day, because the hangover from it is long and prolonged. But the other thing that I have noticed is that there's a particular kind of meditation that really helps me get calm and fall asleep. And of course, also not taking your computer to bed with you, not taking your iPad to bed with you, that kind of thing that riles up your mind right before it's time to go to sleep. But so those are the biggies.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack here that I think, it's just incredible. So a lot of times when I talk about sleep problems, right, we start off and talk, when I talk about that, we really talk about one category of like medical problems. So this can be medical sleep problems, like sleep apnea, or reflux or asthma, or narcolepsy or insomnia, or in your case, thyroid disease, right? So that's one category, right? And then the other category is, things like behavioral patterns or habits that really then start to deprive us of good sleep. So, what I'm hearing, things like the caffeine you were taking probably all day was probably still having lingering effects at night. And then, the alcohol, in an effort to sleep better, ends up fragmenting your sleep. And then sometimes just the thoughts that we start to have when we realize, oh my goodness, sleep is important. I don't want to die. I don't want to have Alzheimer's. I got to sleep. And then it becomes this added pressure, right? That then contributes to your sleep problems, right? And then the third category I talk about is sort of that spectrum of things that may be going on in our lives, that just has its own effect at night. So some people might have anxiety or stress or things like that, which is present. It just kind of presents itself at night in a different way. And so I love how you've kind of taken us through this journey. You've actually, with the medical piece, first you were like, wait, why am I breaking out in sweats? And folks out there, this is so important. When you have sleep that is unusual, when you have sleep where you're having any kind of physical symptoms, don't just ignore it. It might be a sign that something is up, right? So the drenching night sweats could be anything, but you were able to see why, well, it was thyroid issues. And so taking the medicine, hoping that would fix it. I think for you, there was just a few more layers to your sleep issues where you actually did have insomnia and you would wake up and mind racing, and then getting into meditation kind of will help with that. And some of the incredible habits you then started to build in, limiting electronic devices in bed, avoiding bringing your phone and your devices into your room, and things like that. So this is really interesting. One other piece I wanted to mention too is the trackers. And there's so many out there. And really, for people that ask, oh, should I track my sleep or not track my sleep? I think if you're coming from a place of curiosity, it is okay. And these devices, the algorithms are getting smarter and smarter, but they're still not the same like you would get from a standard sleep study, for instance. But then it kind of may show you what trends are like, what time you're getting into bed. Are you waking up for long periods of time? I don't think they figured out the algorithms yet in terms of, light sleep, deep REM sleep. I think there's still work to do, but you can use it to monitor trends. Like you were saying, you started to drink alcohol before bed, and all of a sudden, because you had seen a trend, you were able to see, oh, wait, something's going on with my sleep.
This is bad.
Exactly. So this is, I'm just, there were so many layers. I knew this was going to be really fascinating, really interesting, but it's like you were like a mystery, a mix of everything. And so now you've had this experience. Tell me what, and then you already told us about some of the things you did to slowly but gradually start to take your sleep back. When would you say there was a shift? When did you start to see like, okay, I'm feeling better. The sleep issues seem to be better under control. And were there like certain things you did, or was it just a combination of those habits and those choices that helped you get better?
I think it was a combination of all of it, but I will tell you that the one thing that I have used and done consistently that I really feel like made such an immediate difference for me was this yoga practice called yoga nidra. And it's not yoga, it's not moving around, it's meditation. And you don't do anything, but you just lay there and you listen to it. And it's funny because it's the name of the scientific thing is non-sleep deep rest. But truthfully, for me, when I'm tired and it helps me turn my brain off, then it's just like, boom, down I go. So there's a part in there where they say resolve to remain awake and listen to the sound of my voice, because it's a person talking to you the whole time. I rarely make it 2 minutes past that part where she says to resolve to remain awake. And if I do, I know it's like, oh, well, I must be better rested than I thought, because, because what it's basically doing is it's making you stop thinking the racing thoughts that are in your head and just get into this deep relaxation. And if you're sleepy, then when you're relaxed, boom, down you go. But if you are sleepy, but you're not relaxed because your mind is just going, then sometimes even though you're sleepy, you won't be able to go to sleep. And this thing has just really remarkably helped me.
Oh, that's incredible. And I would dare say that's really a piece of the puzzle, especially for, high achieving, busy women where you're just going constantly. Really having a space where you can, practice some form of mindfulness or meditation and just be still. For me, I offer also journaling as a possibility, meditation, whatever that looks like, that helps sort of declutter your mind before bed. And I'm so excited to hear that helps. And so what is this through? And one thing I want to know also, and usually, I think I've mentioned before too, is you have a lot of this meditation apps that are available. You have, courses, subscriptions, and things like that. So really take advantage of them, I would say.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So just one other thing that's very recent for me is that my husband said, hey, you've started really snoring a lot. And I've never really been able to breathe great through my nose at night. And so he's like, you really snore a lot now, and you never used to do that. And so I actually went and had an actual sleep study. I had my doctor send me for a sleep study, and it was not a real in-house sleep study. It was one of these take it at home sleep tests. And so I'm not sure how accurate it was, but it says I have sleep apnea. And so I'm working on getting that figured out at this point to try to decide what kind of treatment I'm going to do for that.
Wow. So you just took this to another level. So another reason why your sleep quality can be disrupted and can be impacted is if you have that underlying medical problem. So sleep apnea is actually much more common than we think with women in the post or peri or postmenopausal period. It's not just the middle-aged, obese sort of male that we tend to hear about. Even women have sleep apnea, children have sleep apnea. It's really that just hearing yourself or someone telling you that you're snoring frequently, or you feeling like you're having pauses in your breathing, or feeling like your mouth is dry. If you're hearing that, or your spouse or bed partner is saying that, then that's time to get it checked out, because it does have a lot of consequences to our hearts, to our mood, to, our blood pressure and things, our function overall. And it's very, very treatable. There's so many treatment options out there. So I hope you're going to be getting treatment soon. Did they tell you what is likely to be the treatment? Most commonly it's CPAP, but then there's some other options like oral appliances.
I'm pretty lucky because, I have the financial means to try more than one thing, and I don't really have to depend on my insurance company to say, oh, you pick one or the other. So I think I'm actually going to try the oral appliances and the CPAP and see which one of them feels more comfortable and works better for me.
Yeah,
so I'm actually pretty lucky in that way.
Yeah, that's great. They both take some getting used to. Usually, with the CPAP, which kind of stents your airway open, most people tend to have really great results with that, but it does take some time to get used to, because now you have a mask you're wearing and, sort of the compressor that's pushing air in. And so it tends to be a bit uncomfortable initially, but now there's been amazing results with the oral appliances too. So you'll need to keep me posted on which one ended up being the winner. And just pay attention to your sleep quality. It's about to change significantly, because it does improve function, mood, and all that in so many levels. So
I am so looking forward to I am so looking forward to having better sleep. I really, really am.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So this has been so much fun. I almost feel like there needs to be a part 2 when you get your obstructive sleep apnea
Report
treated
back,
and report back. But any final words you would have to that woman who is either struggling with sleep or trying to figure out how to get better sleep? What would be your, top couple of tips?
Well, I think, talking to your doctor about it, of course, and if they are not experienced, then ask for a referral to a sleep specialist. But then one more thing that I thought of that can be really helpful is if you're perimenopausal, going through menopause, and some of your hormone levels have pretty drastically changed, those really can affect your sleep as well. And it's something that I had actually forgotten about because it's been quite a long time since I fixed it. But I had my doctor add progesterone to my medications, and it really has helped me a lot as well. So anyway, that and the meditation has been just great.
That's awesome. I love and I appreciate this perspective. We've talked about making sure you seek help so you don't have to struggle for years and years and years before you find the help you need. And you might need help in terms of somebody, a specialist who's really well versed in this, to help you figure out what the underlying issue is. Make sure that you're practicing healthy sleep habits, and also make sure that you are engaging in mindfulness or meditation or something where you're helping with dealing with the mind racing and things like that. I think those are very, very helpful tips. So this has been awesome. Where can we find you?
Okay, well, so my website is www.allergyaccessmd.com, and that's where my courses are. And I also have a personal blog at danagibbsmd.com that I spend more time talking about the thyroid and my sleep troubles and all that good stuff. So that's more of the personal stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gibbs. And if you are out there where you're struggling with sleep, don't struggle anymore. Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown, as you know, I am the founder of Restful Sleep MD, and that's what I do. I help women really prioritize sleep, figure out what's going on with their sleep issues so that they can move to a place where they're getting restful sleep. And so get on my website, www.restfulsleepmd.com, and let's talk. And so thank you so much, Dr. Gibbs. It was so nice talking with you today.
I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Funke.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.